one that celebrated their 55th birthday on top of the volcano in the morning. So we
So
had a
epic.
wide age range. Everybody had varying abilities, but they were all determined to do it. And nobody had any major physical limitation. So that I would say that if you have something where you're like, I struggle to walk 4 miles on flat ground, then it's not going to be something that you'll be able to do. But we can talk about because there is a way that we could figure out an alternative if that's the one thing that's holding you back. So reach out if you have any questions. Reach out to me, and I'm happy to talk you through if there is something on an alternative that we could do. But at the same time, so there's base camps. Day one, you just go, it's 4 miles, you hike up to base camp. And it is about 3,500 feet of climbing in that 4 miles. So it is steep and it's pretty consistent until like the last half mile, then it kind of flattens out a little bit and it's just rolling. But the first mile is, in my opinion, the hardest because it's in the sun. We do get started early in the morning, but just because you're in the sun, it feels harder. Then once you
Yeah.
get in the shade, you feel like, oh, I can take a break whenever I want. And we do, we move the speed of the group. And so, with this last group I took, we had some ultra marathoners that were used to climbing mountains all the time. And we had some people who were definitely not ultra marathoners at
Yeah.
all. Um, and that was okay because we moved the speed of the group and we took lots of breaks and you stop for lunch halfway up. And honestly, it's going to sound crazy because you're like 4 miles took you 6 hours, but it took us 6 hours. And
Yeah.
I've done this volcano hike twice with two different groups, and it took us about 6 hours both times. And it's just because we moved at the speed of the group. So don't feel like you're holding people up because everybody's probably fine with having a break too. And we're gonna get there. You got all day to make 4 miles. So
Yeah, yeah. And I always I
yeah,
I always mention on all of my hikes that the hardest part is like making it to the trailhead. So once
yeah,
you're there, it's
yeah,
like we're just gonna do this. We're gonna do this
yeah,
however we
yeah.
need to.
Yeah,
That's
and we
awesome.
stop for breaks, we stop for snacks. Now, so then what happens is you get to base camp and you set up, in your tent, and then you have a dinner, and you have hot chocolate, and you sit by the fire, and there's this beautiful view of the volcano, and then the next part is optional. So if you choose to summit the volcano, which is another 1,500 feet of climbing, you do it at it. They wake you up about 3:30 in the morning, and then you climb up to be up there before sunrise. So about six of us chose to go to the top last time. Everyone that went there, I mean, it was a very emotional experience. It was amazing. But the ones that stayed behind said that they saw a beautiful sunrise too. So, it really is up to you and what you think. You might be like, I pushed it, I did it, I made it to base camp, and I'm good with that. And that's fine. There will be a group that goes up in the morning to see the sunrise on the top of the volcano, and so I should mention it's two volcanoes, one that's active and one that is dormant. It still has like steam vents, but it's not actively lava flow. And so you're climbing the one that is dormant, the one that's active. They're right beside each other. So you have this, I mean, when you're at base camp, when you're on the summit, you have this, view of this volcano that's just right in front of you that's active. It really is. I've done several different volcano hikes, and it really is. I can't think of anything else like it just because it's just like this front row seat to this show that you're like, I don't know. It's very magical.
It's great that there's flexibility with the second portion where if you're like
Yeah.
this the original hike was enough for me. I'm gonna own that and like hang out here and enjoy my time. And if you're feeling like you have that urge to push a little bit further, I I am of both groups. Like I love a good bailout on a hard hike, and I also
Yeah.
love a good push. And it just depends on how I'm feeling that day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, what your goals are. I mean, like I said, there was a few people who probably went almost past their limit because they had a very emotional reason to get to the top of that volcano. And for them, it was like, totally worth it. So a lot of times, we can do things a lot harder than we think we can if we are determined to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the pictures, I mean, I can't even, I have no words for the pictures that you took. Those are
Yeah.
so epic. Leslie, it's been so wonderful just diving into some of the deeper parts of this trip that, a lot of folks have been asking me about. So before we wrap up, is there anything you want to say to someone who's listening who might be sitting on the fence? Any final words of encouragement for those who really do want to join us?
Yeah, I would say if you really do want to join, that, you know, just go for it. But I am also very open to taking any questions or, anything that you have that are specific to you, you individually. Um, I don't know. I would say that everyone that went on the April trip really felt like, it was worth it. And I have another trip that we're doing next year, which I haven't announced yet, but every single one of us was like, even before I announced the location, was just like, sign up. I'm gonna come. Sign me up. I'm coming. So I really do think if you're on the fence, it's one of those things that it really will change. It will change you because there's going to be things that you experience, things that you see that just feel so different, so unique. And, you want to have that again. So, but if there's, specific questions to anything, I'm happy to answer them. But I don't know. I would just say, um, follow what you feel is right, but sometimes you just got to say yes to things that are a little bit scary. And um in my experience, that's always worked out to being a pretty cool adventure.
Absolutely. And what's so great about trips like this is that the hesitations that folks have are totally valid. We're not offering you a luxury trip where we're going to porter all your stuff around. You're going with two humans are in for the adventure just as much as you are. That's kind of where like the magic starts to brew, like we can build all the web pages and itineraries and create these like epic trips, but it really at the end of the day, we're doing the same thing and we're stoked to do it with you, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it felt like I said, as we were reflecting back, it felt like not only have we been there forever, but we had like so many different like inside jokes, that only these things that we had gone through together, experience, and like no one else. I don't know, even like relaying the story to other people, you could tell they were kind of like, okay, but I'm like, no, it was hilarious, like when this
Yeah.
happened. Oh no,
You're like,
because you weren't there.
had to be there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I
Anyway.
I thrive on silly deep belly laugh moments and it's just like soul healing.
Yeah.
So thank you, Leslie. And if
Yeah.
you're listening and you feel that little inner voice saying, maybe, we're hoping this conversation answered some of your questions. There's definitely still time to join because we are ready to go to Guatemala with you.
Yeah.
I am ready to go to Guatemala with you,
I'm
Leslie.
going.